What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is Asa Studio. Today we'll be looking at how to color grade and retouch images in Capture One. Alright, so if you like what we post in the content, kindly stay with us, and if you're new to the channel, kindly subscribe. Alright, so let's dive right into it. The first things first, we're going to correct the skin color or the skin tones, and to do that we need to create a new layers. Layers is a way of adjusting your image without destroying it or without creating a permanent adjustment. And for us to create a new layer, just click on the layer icon, and this is Capture One versus version 23. Alright, so press this down button, this plus icon, the one close to it is the arrowhead, and you see new empty adjustment layer. Alright, so after creating, I'm going to rename it skin color. You can do adjustment and hit enter on the keyboard. And what we're going to do, we're going to pick the magic toothbrush, and what the magic toothbrush does is it selects colors in the photo on the images or pixels that are actually having the same color, and it selects all. So for instance, I want to select as skin tones. If I click here, it's going to select colors that are actually in that range. So if I hit M on the keyboard, you see that it has selected colors in that range. And one good thing, you can adjust by right clicking the tolerance and the refined edge. So I'm going to bring the tolerance up to this, and I'm going to select her skin the more. So let's hit M on the keyboard to see where we're selecting. You can also draw a line like this, and it's going to select the skin tones and the skin, all skin tones that are similar to those places. I'm going to select this side and select down here also. Just click. The more you click, the more it's getting the selections. So I just want to select those sides so it affects all the images. Alright, so take your time and select. When you're done selecting whatever image you are editing, click M to hide and view. Alright, so make sure that the places you don't want to adjust are selected also. So alright, so now after selecting that, we're going to go down. Let's close the layer and go to color editor. Under the color editor, we're going to skin tones, because that is where we want to adjust the skin tones, which means the skin color. Now we're going to make the skin color uniform, and for us to do that, we need a color range in this circle, and for us to view that, we need to click on this eyedropper tool. And now this is the best part. You need to select where you want all our skin color to look like, so meaning you have to select the real color of our skin. So for us to do that, we need to look at the photo and adjust the image. So let's see, I want the color to look like the one beside our shoulder right here, where I'm hovering this mouse, and I can click there and it gives me the range on the circle. You can actually see here. Now for us to make everything look alike, we need to increase the hue, and don't take it to the end because it starts looking artificial. Okay, so it won't look real, and this is actually okay for me. And we can go back to the layers, which is right here, and I can click off and on, or we can just turn on before and after. Alright, so that's not all. We need to also take it up to the point that everything is looking fine. We can increase the saturation also just a little bit to make the saturation uniform too. I'm not going to touch the lightness because lightness will make things look more flat. I can actually even decrease the lightness right here to make things pop out a little bit more. Alright, so after that you can adjust these to your taste, but sometimes I don't adjust that, so let's just take it forward to give it some yellows. Okay, so now we're through with that, and other things I'm going to adjust is under the color editor. Same, we're going to go to the basic tab and click on this eyedropper tool, and I want to decrease the yellows or the orange. I don't know the color, but I just feel like the colors in the skin tones is actually too much or too saturated, and it's not actually giving me the perfect melanin skin. So I'm going to click somewhere around the end, because if we check out the before and after, you can see some difference in color right here. So I'm going to click around that side. So let's take it back and click the eyedropper tool and select somewhere there, and immediately you see that it jumps to the orange tab, and we can decrease the saturation of that just a bit, and decreasing the saturation makes it look black, like a black skin. Now the next thing we're going to be doing is the color grading, and for us to do color grading, let's turn up the before and after. Let's create a new a new fill layer rather, because we'll be affecting the old photo. Okay, before that, let's remove that and let's bring out, okay, let's just create a new empty new fill layer, and this time around I write adjust hair, because we're going to be adjusting the yellow in the hair. Now go back to the color editor again and the basic tab, and I'm going to select this one and click on the hair, and you can see the range, the yellows is selected, and we can desaturate that as well. So desaturating that makes the hair, the yellows in the hair desaturated, and we have that. Good, not desaturated, just to make it look natural. So I'm going to close that. Now let's adjust the overall image by color grading. So I'm going to name this color grading, and hit enter. And to color grade, we need to go to the color balance panel, and I like starting with the shadows, taking it down to the blues, and I'm just going to click somewhere around here and bring it down a bit like that, and we have this bluish feel, and you can turn it off and see the difference. So we have this bluish feel. I'm going to take this up as well, so facing somewhere to put in some yellows, not too much, just a bit. Okay, somewhere around there looks fine to me, and we can find the sweet spot for this. So taking it making it look like this, somewhere around there. So we finish color grading, and we can see the before and after color grading. All right, so one more adjustment I like making is the new fill layer adjustment. I'm going to adjust the saturation and exposure. So saturation and exposure. So I feel like the hand is actually exposed, but let's see what we can get. And we can actually just start with the curve and create an X curve to create some contrast. So bring it up and then bring this down, because I won't, so I will leave it like that. And we can decrease the opacity of that. Let me take it down a little bit, down a bit. Okay, so let's decrease the opacity. Okay, so now let's go back to the exposure and eye dynamic range, and I want to bring down the shadows just a bit, and I feel like it's actually bright, so let's take it down, and we have that. The blacks, we can actually increase the blacks up and to give more details on the black, and bring down the whites. And let's go, I think we're actually done with that. With the highlights, we can take the highlight down so things don't look too bright, and I can go to the saturation and bring up the saturation a bit. Okay, so now we can go to another thing. I mean, is the structure. So let's look for the structure. I think that should be under the clarity, and we can increase the structure, just give it more depth. I'm going to close it, create a new adjustment, and I'm going to create a new fill adjustment. Okay, there's no need to create that, it's going to create that automatically. Click on the draw healing mask, and I'm just going to click on this to heal that. You can move this around to somewhere close, and we can hide the brush. So this is how to heal layers on the keyboard. I'm just going to decrease the brush, zoom in, and click on the blemishes. Okay, so I usually use Capture One and usually use Photoshop for this, so just a little bit. After all, we're going to use Photoshop to adjust all this, so that's why I use Photoshop for all that. I'm just going to undo that, and I think I'll take it to Photoshop to make things. So this is just raw edit before taking things to Photoshop to do some frequency separation. Alright, so thank you guys for watching. Thank you. Let's quickly look at the before and after. So this is our before and this is our after. We're going to zoom in a bit. This is our before and this is our after. Alright, so guys, if you enjoyed the video or you enjoyed the tutorial, kindly like and share the video. Let me know in the comment section what actually helped you, and if you're new to the channel, kindly subscribe if more Capture One tutorial. All right, so thank you guys, see you in our next video. Once again, this is ASAS Studio.